Hey there, YouTube. It's Petey. March 11th. It's Tuesday, is it? So, yeah, the weather has broken here in Chicago. I'm going to do some small talk, chit chat. We took a walk yesterday. An update on the project that I just finished, but really the reason I'm in here, I watch a lot of YouTube. I've watched a lot of the music channels or guitar centric channels that are out there over the years, but it seems like every time I turn around, there's more guys that I've never heard of popping up in my feed. Like there is a mind-numbing amount of guitar channels and people who did it for a short period of time and are gone now. There's always different people doing it. And they do it for a period of time, and if they don't get success, they quit doing it. So it's like the amount of people that I've met that I think that I know from watching them, it's a lot. A lot. Now, my thing is really in its own corner. What I do as it relates to guitar, music, and technology is really off on its own. Meaning, a few years ago, this company called Boss put out a product called the Katana. And it's like everyone has a katana and they can use that as a reference point where I have no idea what you're talking about when you say that word. I just don't know. I don't know. Like years ago, I used to read all of the musician friend catalogs, and I had a pretty good grasp, excuse me, of the gear that was available on the market. And I've fallen out of touch now. I still read the Sweetwater catalog, but it's not like it used to be. And I found my own path and my happy place. And I realized it doesn't fall into like if you grouped all the guitar players who are in this hobby and had the people who are most alike in the gear that they use, the playing style of their music, I realize that I'm nowhere near what's most popular. I also know that like where I'm coming from is a direct result of my lack of talent and then my handicap. So it's not like I can sit here up on my high horse and go like I've mastered guitar because it's you know and it's funny because I think for the most part people who are watching these videos they're not here for the music. And I'm like, I think that's the only thing that I have to offer. And I see that most of the other channels that are guitar centric channels, they don't offer any music. It's like, how can you keep this going and never once put a song out? I don't know. Then again, there are people that have music. You know, I I do see like singer songwriter people or people that are just doing covers. People with a single instrument who's their channel, it's just covers after covers after covers after covers. Or it's them with an instrument and a microphone and they're, you know, again, what can I relate to that? I can't. So the two guys I've been watching more religiously lately is Bald Shredder. And he's got I would say, decisive personality. And then Gary over at G Tone. Bald Shredder is getting budget instruments, and I've heard him play some music. And he is a talented guitar player. Gary over at G Tone, he can actually do the setups. He's getting the deals. Gary's knows what's up. and he's getting like $89 Telecasters off of Temu and fixing them up. He more recently bought a built his own pickup winder, which is really cool. And he knows how to do what I don't know how to do, which is fretwork and cutting the nut slots, which I wish I had experience with that. I wish that I would have had support when I was coming up, that my parents would have been like, we need to send him to luthier school so he can make a living. But the point of this video, Bald Shredder dropped the video about another channel that I'm familiar with. It's funny because I came to this channel through another guitar channel. One of the things that this guy did is reaching out to other channels that were already a success and making himself apparent and known. So this channel is called Scar My Guitar. The guy's name, is it Wayne? Is it Scott? I forget his name. Sean. This is Sean here at his bench. And this is not Sean's usual channel. This is Sean's wife's channel, Scar My Pickups. Sean's channel was called Scar My Guitar. And his wife here is his partner in marriage and business in YouTube. So she's been winding pickups, and that's her channel. Scar My Pickups. Now, what happened to Sean? Well, he clicked on a PDF file in an email. It was a Gmail account. According to what I learned when I watched this video from Sean, he's got multiple email addresses. He's got one in Edge, he's got one in Mozilla, and one at Gmail, I think, maybe more. The only one where this email came through was a Gmail email. Now, I've done this maybe one time, a long time ago. I clicked on something, and my wife was like, "What are you doing? You, of all people, should know better." So that's the reason I'm making this video. There's another music YouTuber named Stevie T, Steve Tenberry. He's that guy, makes that face all the time, and he markets his videos to kids, and he has adult content that he features to keep his audience of 6-year-old boys entertained. Anyway, Stevie T got hacked. Same thing happened to Stevie T. And according to Sean, what happened, he was checking his email. He ended up clicking on this PDF file and some Google Gmail account. He received an email and it had this, open this PDF file. When he clicked on it, it was a virus. It was a executable file. It was not a PDF file. And it went in and stole all of his passwords from his computer. And immediately these hackers who are, I think they're in India maybe. Don't quote me on that. But what it is, it's a crypto scam. And on his end, it was like all of a sudden there was a live stream that came up on his channel, and it was this crypto thing. And then they deleted his entire channel, which I shouldn't laugh. I'm laughing because that's my first reaction out of horror. For them, for these people, him and his wife, this is their only income. So I don't know what's next for Sean and his wife. I would say if you're kind enough, good enough person, you go over there to Scar My Pickups and subscribe. I'll do that now. He says we are hacked so easily and yet no one can help us. After the fact, he's been coming to the realization that it's there isn't an easy way to solve this, and he got stuck in a loop by going down the Google path. They're like, well, we have to prove that's your identity, so you need to provide this information and click this reset link. And he'll do all that, provide this, photograph of him holding his license, and then upload that, and then hit this thing, and it takes him right back to the same thing. So he's unbelievably frustrated. 5 years worth of his work is gone. Is he going to be able to get it back? I don't know. It appears to him that it's been deleted. So basically what I'm getting at is if you're doing something like this, you should have the stuff backed up. You should have it backed up physically and have hard copies of it in the real world. Physical DVD back. Like there's ways you can do this. Maybe not DVD is the way to do it anymore, but and if that's an overwhelming idea for you, then what you need to do is be really careful when you're in your email and never open any email that you aren't 100% sure that it's a legitimate email, and never click on a attachment. So that's really important. And I just, if I went to anybody's YouTube guitar channel other than my own, I could sit there and roast them and talk smack about them. I'm not going to do that about Scar My Guitar because that would be kicking them when them at their lowest. I don't agree 100% with any YouTube guitar channel, and I have my own way of doing things that doesn't jive with other people. But I'm not here to do that today. I'm here to support Sean and his wife. So I'm not going to point out any discrepancies or differences or talk any kind of smack about those people right now because that's missing the point. So I hope you do the right thing and you go over there and show those people some love, whether you like them or not. That's really not the point, you know? Last night, I rewired, I just finished this guitar amplifier that I built. And in the process of this build, I had got out another similar build that's in a compact enclosure. I got a small version and I got a big version now. So the smaller version was acting funny, was intermittent. And it turned out it was the output jack needed to be cleaned a little bit. And that'll happen. Sometimes these jacks they just need to be um, it may be that the speaker connector, the tip on this jack is old and it's a little bit different shape. So it didn't mate up with this modern connector, but I had to insert it and pull it out and insert it and pull it out rapidly and then pop the back tab up a few times, and it ended up it fixed it. But it was not working. It was not making contact. So I took care of that. I had another 16 millimeter panel display that I had taken out of another amp. I was going to temp it into this one because I was waiting and waiting and waiting on a delivery. Well, that delivery finally showed up. So I had to pop the 16 mil panel display back in one of my old amps. Took care of that stuff, and then when I tested this amp, I mean the way that I built it to run out of the headphone port of my multi-effector. So my multi-effect has a right and left output, 1/4 inch jack. So those 1/4 inch cables, they go up to the mixing board. And this amp, which was going to be a center channel amp, was going to take just the left headphone output. So it would be coming out of a headphone port using a small cable. And the thing about that is when I have modulation and panning effect, it's going to be fading in and out because it's supposed to go from the right channel to the left. Well, if I only have one channel, it's going to have this tremolo effect. And I just didn't really like that. In the past, I've done wet, dry, wet rigs. I built a splitter box, which is a pedal that has one input jack with a toggle switch next to it, and then 2 output jacks, and there's no knobs. So that the guitar plugs into it, and then it's buffered. It's an active. There's a battery in it. It clones the signal. So you set this box as the first thing that the guitar sees. You'll have it over by your foot when you're performing. So the guitar cable comes out and goes into the splitter box. And then you have one output from the splitter box going to your main rig, and the secondary output from the splitter box will go to a pedal rig with just a few pedals to power your center channel amp. So ideally, you don't really need reverb and delay on that. You want to keep it just distortion. Just clean and dirty is really, that's really the way to go. So when I had designed this amp, I figured I would use a voltage regulator. So I would split the 24 volts. The batteries are 24 volt battery pack, and have a 9 volt lead powering. So coming off the power switch, the power line splits into 2. And one line goes to the power amp, 24 volts. The other 24 volt line goes to a voltage regulator that reduces the current to 9 volts. And then that 9 volt line will go to power any LED and also the preamp circuit. Now, when I fixed that secondary amp with the bad jack yesterday, when I'm looking at it, There's no voltage regulator in there, which means, and I've got 50 volt capacitors on the preamp. So that means I'm running the preamp and the power amp off of 24 volts, which is a better idea. Why run your preamp at 9 volts when you can run it at 24? Why would you? It's going to be more headroom. It's just going to be more of everything. More overall output volume, cleaner signal. So yesterday I rerouted the preamp to 24 volts, and I took that 9 volt and I ran it to a 2.1 mil output. So I can, on the top of the amplifier, I can set up a Sol 918, which has an effects loop with a Joyo American sound, a Baying Baby Boom reverb pedal, which is a really good sounding reverb. It doesn't suck tone. Again, I went through a lot of pedals, and what I ended up with does not suck tone. So it's there's a little mini pedal it's smaller than a 1590, but it's an Azor brand noise gate that I got in a trade. So the signal comes into basically it'll be my guitar going out to the splitter box. One line goes to the new XMG30, and then those go stereo to the PA mains. Then there's this amplifier in the middle with the pedals on top. The splitter box, the secondary line goes to that noise gate, comes out of the noise gate, goes into the Sol 918, and then out of the 918 into the amp, out of the 12-inch speaker. The effects loop on the Sol 918 has the American sound and the reverb. Now, I'll show you what the Sol 918 is. It's made by Mosky. When I bought this thing for my center channel, I paid 30 for it. It looks like it's 60 now. I got a deal on mine. Let me see so you guys can see this. This little thing it's quiet is what it is. It doesn't suck tone, and it's quiet. I'm not a fan of the reverb, but I've got another reverb pedal, and it does add a dimension. The delay is awesome. I really like the delay, and the overdrive and the distortion are certainly usable, if not great. I really like the distortion. The overdrive, it's more of a boost, but it does get gritty too. So this is kind of going against my thing of you don't really need to have a bunch of time-based effects on the center channel, but now I will. And that's only going to add to it. For me, I've done this before where I had way too many reverbs and delays, and I love it. I love hitting a note and hearing them all firing off. So, and I mean, the other thing is I'm pretty like Steve Lukather on his pedal board. He has two Boss delay pedals. He has a short one and a long one. And he doesn't, it's not everything has to be in tempo of the music. It doesn't have to be. There's something called feel when you have it set off, and it can add something to it that you don't get when it's all locked in. I know that sound of everything being locked in, and it gets a little bit, believe me, when everything is perfectly locked in like that, it gets a little bit mechanical. It can. So, and I'm also pretty good about being able to know the rhythm of the song beforehand and click across the guitar chords, make a thump noise and hear the delay and then adjust it and be able to quickly tempo sync and get it close enough, you know. So that's the change in plans. Hi, Kitty. Hi. I love you. The cat's here looking at me. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for joining me on this one. Like I said, I was going to run that off of my headphone output. And of course, change of plans. Hopefully this is going to be it for me. I mean, I could very well lose the Soul 918 and put an SD1 up there in front. That's the thing. If you have a Joyo American sound, try putting a Boss SD1 in front of it. Get some really excellent distortion tones that way, stacking those two. Anyway, I'm going to cut you guys loose. I'll put the link to Scar My Pickup, so head over there and show those people some love in their time of need. You guys hug your pets, and peace.